So for this episode of Weekly Spark, I have a very large Labyrinth stencil. And I don't use it very often because it is so large. And Wonder Strumpet stencils on Etsy, cannot recommend them enough. But it's a stencil that's so big that I think I should probably get that temporary adhesive that people use to spray on their stencils to hold it in place. Because when we get to that portion of this video, you're going to see that it does jump around a lot. So in the summer when I'm recording videos, I tend to take away all of the audio, just delete it after the fact. Because I'm in a very hot room, I've got a fan running, the dog might be walking around or barking at anybody that goes by outside. So for this month, for sure, you're going to see me doing voiceovers over the videos themselves. What I've started here is just smearing some gesso onto the page because it felt a different energy because I had the fan turned on, I had my hair up in a clip, I wasn't trying to talk through the steps when I was doing them, I was standing up, I had on my apron, I wasn't worried about making a mess. So I really fell into the flow pretty quickly with this one. And it was nice to just grab paint and start to smear it around and then respond to what was happening on the page. That kind of takes me back to my art journal roots where I'm not overthinking it too much, where I'm just literally responding to what's happening visually. What do I need? Is this too dark? Is this too busy? Do I need to smooth out an area? And so that's what we're doing here on this first part of the spread. The palette that I'm using is one that I've used often. I do love how the colors respond to each other, but there's a Titan Buff, and then there's like a Titan Green Pale, I guess. These are golden acrylic colors. This blue is a Payne's Gray, actually, and then I'm going to put in some yellow ochre coming up soon. I like that they can go into each other and smear and not get too brown and not get too muddy, but that there's both kind of warm and cool happening. So what I wanted to do for the actual stenciling of this labyrinth is I wanted to have it be somewhat sheer to go over top of the spread and the layers that you saw in kind of the first half of this video. So I am using a raw umber golden fluid acrylic and mixing that together with some gloss gel medium. It was really, really juicy, and I was worried about it kind of slipping under the stencil itself. So I thickened it up with some modeling paste. And although this makes it really sticky, and I want to make sure to clean this off my stencil when I'm done, it gave me a nice kind of body that I thought would work well. Now, I mentioned that this is a larger stencil and a complex stencil, and you're going to see me have so much trouble. It keeps lifting up. It's hard to hold it down, to not be stuck to it, because like I said, this mixture I stirred up is pretty sticky. So I've tried every method. I've sponged it, I've used stencil brushes. I'm not sure what the best techniques were. And I got halfway done and I was afraid it wasn't going to come out because so many times you can see it's peeling up with my hand. I'm trying to hold the stencil in place so I get a clean image so it's not shifting. But it definitely was pretty sticky. The nice thing was that because it was sheer, because it was mixed with gel medium, it was going to be a little bit forgiving if the edges blurred a little bit, since it wasn't as high contrast and sharp, clean of a line as it would have been if I was stenciling with straight up acrylic paint. Really happy overall with how it came out. I can read the labyrinth clearly, but I still get all of the layers from the spread showing through. And I decided that the last thing I wanted was some text to kind of go with the intention of the page. I have a set of block letters that are quite old. No idea about their provenance. Found them in a classroom that I was teaching in and was able to adopt them when my tenure there was over. So just going to stamp out Trust the Journey. I thought maybe I was going to use a brown. I had some paint on the palette next to me. Thought I would put it on with a brayer since they are larger block letters. They don't have a lot of give like a rubber stamp. They're pretty firm. But this Archival stamp pad in this kind of dark plum color was working. And it was a nice jewel tone that worked with the other colors in the page. It's not anywhere else in the page, but the difference in color gives it a little attention without it being too bright to have it pop and steal the attention away from the labyrinth itself. As always, if you like this video, I'd love to have you subscribe or click the bell for notifications or click the thumbs up, you know, all the standard YouTube things. But definitely stay tuned next week when there will be another episode of Weekly Spark for this month of July, using the Labyrinth as our inspiration, as our motif for these pages.